A woman had been stranded on a deserted island for 10 days without food. She finally managed to catch a few small fish, but she had no intention of eating any of them. Instead, she mashed them all up and dumped everything into the ocean. She then grabbed a sharpened stick and fixed her eyes on the water, waiting for something. Sure enough, a shark picked up the scent and came circling in. The moment it got close, she raised the stick and drove it in with everything she had. Seeing the shark go down in one shot, she was more thrilled than if she'd hit the jackpot. She let out a wild scream right there in the water. But strangely, she didn't eat the shark right away. Instead, she waited until dark and hung it up in a tree. Then she lay flat in a sandpit she'd dug earlier and watched in secret, like she was baiting something. But as she waited, she drifted off without realizing it. When she woke up, the shark was gone. Nothing left but an empty rope. That's when it hit her, something else was on this island, and it was smart. To stay ahead of whatever it was, she started searching the shoreline for anything useful. She hadn't gone far when she spotted half a shark washed up on the beach. The claw marks across its body made her stomach drop. She just stood there, frozen. No ordinary animal could have done that. But what terrified her even more was coming back to find her companion's body completely gone. Just bloodstained sand where it had been. She realized this thing wasn't just after fish anymore. Fear hit her like a wave. She quickly used rocks to sharpen some sticks into spears. Then she carefully searched the island for somewhere to hide. She circled the whole island and came up empty. Then she heard a strange noise coming from a hollow tree nearby. She forced herself to creep closer and bent down to look inside. Suddenly, just a dumb bird. She let out a long breath of relief. But the tension came right back. Without a safe hiding spot, that thing could come for her at any time. So she gathered palm leaves and thick wooden stakes to throw together a makeshift camp, always on guard for an attack. Then she glanced out at the water and spotted something floating in the distance. When she pulled it in, she realized it was a companion she'd lost in the shipwreck. But the body had clearly been chewed on. The claw marks on his face were identical to the ones on the shark. Determined to figure out what was going on, she used the same trick, tied the body up in a tree as bait, then hid in the shadows and watched. This time she didn't let herself fall asleep, keeping her eyes locked on the bait. What she saw next made her blood run cold. A creature nearly 10 feet tall ripped the body from the tree and started feeding without a care in the world. She held her breath, not daring to make a sound, eyes locked straight ahead, praying it wouldn't notice her. Then the roar of a plane cut through the air. Her heart leapt. The creature was gone. She started to get up and signal for help. Then it appeared right in front of her. She froze and clamped her hand over her mouth, not making a single sound. Thankfully, it didn't spot her. She finally exhaled. She knew she couldn't just wait around to die. She had to find a way off this island, because sooner or later, that thing would get her. But there was nothing here, just sand and rocks. No way out in sight. Just when she was out of ideas, she spotted a life jacket nearby. A bold idea hit her. She emptied all the clothes out of a suitcase, stuffed the life jacket inside. Worried it wouldn't hold, she cinched every buckle as tight as it would go. Then she dragged the suitcase into the water, hoping it could float her to safety, away from this island full of death. But she'd overestimated what it could hold. Before she could even climb on, it flipped over. She tried again and again, nothing worked. She completely lost it. She slammed the life jacket down in frustration. With no other option, she had to shelve the escape plan for now. Night was closing in. To stay alive, she crawled into the hollow tree she'd found earlier, hoping the creature wouldn't find her. But danger came anyway. First came a deep, rumbling growl from all around. Then the whole dead tree started shaking violently. Luckily, the outer shell held. Before long, the growling outside faded away. She made it through the night barely. After seeing just how dangerous that creature was, she knew her top priority was finding a way to stay out of its reach. Staring at the palm trees around her, an idea came to her. She grabbed a piece of canvas and punched holes through it with a stick, then used rope and a belt to secure it tightly around a tree, then lashed the canvas together with more rope. In no time, she had a rough hammock rigged high up in the tree. She climbed in without hesitation. It was cramped, but it would hold her. Up high was the only place that creature couldn't reach her, and that meant a chance to survive. Night fell quickly. Just as she was about to drift off, a terrifying growl erupted from directly below. She snapped awake. Fighting back the fear, she looked up. The creature was moving slowly toward her. She panicked. She curled up tight in the hammock and pressed her hands to her chest, silently praying it wouldn't find her. Luckily, the hammock was high enough. The creature searched around but came up empty. She dodged it again, but she had to get off this island, because sooner or later, her luck would run out. Then she spotted something in the distance, a life raft drifting on the water. Overcome with excitement, she swam out to it as fast as she could. But when she got close, she couldn't believe it. Her boyfriend and best friend from the shipwreck were sitting right there. Overjoyed, she rushed them back to shore. She started gathering supplies, planning to use the raft to get out. But her boyfriend had been drifting at sea for so long. Now that he was on solid ground, he refused to leave no matter what. Even as she desperately tried to explain there was a man-eating creature on the island, he wouldn't budge. He just thought she'd lost her mind and started yelling at her. Some people just won't listen. She waded into the water to cool down and figure out how to get through the night. Meanwhile, her boyfriend and Sarah were casually strolling along the beach, not taking her warning seriously at all. Left with no choice, she quietly packed up the supplies and slipped around to the other side of the tree line. While they weren't looking, she slowly pushed the raft toward the water, ready to leave on her own, but just as she was about to make it, they turned around and caught her. They came running and screaming. She scrambled to get into the raft before they reached her, but her boyfriend got there first and grabbed her tight. Sarah latched onto her legs and wouldn't let go. In a split second, she kicked Sarah off, then broke free from her boyfriend's grip. She was almost out, then the next second, she plunged into the water and blacked out. When she came to, it was dark and she was tied to a tree. Her boyfriend was still going on and on, blaming her, completely oblivious to what was coming. It wasn't until Sarah screamed that he finally realized something was very wrong. He grabbed a torch and charged out, and swung it straight at the creature. It did nothing. The creature backhanded him and sent him flying. Then it dove into the water. He tried to go after Sarah, but she was yanked under in an instant. He stood there, completely paralyzed with fear. Luckily, she'd broken free just in time and dragged her stunned boyfriend away. After the attack, he finally regretted not listening to her sooner. He didn't know how to face her. She was furious about being tied up, but seeing how shaken he was, she let it go. She didn't say a word about it. Together they pushed the raft into the water, planning to get out while it was still daylight. What they didn't know was that the creature was watching them from below. A dark shape shot through the water beneath them. Her boyfriend flinched. Before he could react, a claw burst up from below and slashed him. She immediately zipped up the raft's opening to seal it off, hoping that would buy them some time. But the creature slashed right through the bottom with its claws, and forced its head through the gap. In a panic, her boyfriend grabbed a flare gun and shot it straight in the eye. The creature reeled back in pain and retreated. Just when they thought it was over, suddenly, she was dragged underwater. She was running out of air fast. She pulled out a knife and drove it hard into the creature's side. The blow forced it to let her go, but it didn't back off. It turned and went straight for her boyfriend, who had jumped in to save her. It wrapped around his waist and dove toward the bottom, fins driving hard. She watched him disappear into the darkness. She was devastated, but survival meant pushing through the grief and getting to the surface. She dragged herself onto the beach. His death filled her eyes with rage. She also knew there was no escaping these waters without killing it first, so she made as many spears as she could, then gathered sticks and built a series of bonfires, stuffed them with dry grass and set the trap. Night fell. She dumped a pile of crushed fish in the center of the fires as bait. The moment the creature walked into the trap, she lit the fires and surrounded it in flames, then circled behind it while it was distracted and drove a spear into a vital spot. That sent it into a full rage. It grabbed her by the face and lifted her clean off the ground. Her skull was about to be crushed. At the last second, she pulled out her knife and stabbed it in the chest over and over, nearly 20 times. The creature shrieked and dropped her. It was barely alive. She forced herself up and staggered toward the shore. But even torn apart, it kept coming after her. She knew she couldn't outrun it, so she stopped and turned to face it. But when she turned around, the creature was swaying, letting out a weak, mournful cry. Then it collapsed. She finally let herself breathe. Then she set the whole forest on fire and waited quietly for rescue to come.